Hello, this is Gary.
Hey Gary, this is Greg Martin. How are you?
Good. How's it going, man? You're good?
It's going well. Going well. Just finished talking to another gentleman. I've got some sinus stuff going on,
Oh,
so I hope it don't sound too bad.
yeah. You'll be okay. I can relate to the sinus stuff,
Of course,
man.
you're in Alabama, right?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, so you understand.
I understand the weather and the sinuses. Pollen is coming right up, so that's always fun. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Where you at?
I'm in Bruton,
Bru-
of home of William Lee Golden. You know that guy.
Oh gosh, William Lee.
Yeah. You might
Love
have heard
William.
of him. Yeah, what a guy. What a guy. Yeah, I talked to him about a month or so ago. And yeah,
Oh, he's the.
so cool, huh?
No, I met William Lee the first time, mm, 1970, when they were gospel.
Right.
I was playing in a little quartet myself, playing guitar. I was the renegade guitar player,
Cool.
and we opened up for the Oak Ridge Boys, and Dwayne and William Lee were there, along with Willie Wynn and Noel Fox. We're going way back.
Wow.
You know,
Wow. How,
this is back when William Lee was the poster boy.
that's it.
He's still,
Before
you know,
before the beard. That's right. That's
yeah.
it.
I love those guys. Period.
They're awesome. But
Yes, they are. Absolutely.
um, which the Kentucky Headhunters are not shabby either. I'm just saying. I mean,
We just look shabby.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that. I don't want to hurt your
Well,
feelings.
I don't. I look pretty rough right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
the sinuses. That's what it is. You
They
know,
don't help.
they make you look
They don't.
stuffy and.
Uh, I'll be honest with you. Back before Christmas, I was having some fine Kentucky barbecue, and I bit into a bone and broke a tooth
Ooh.
at the root. And I'm having a. I'm in the process of having an implant done now.
Wow.
Growing a beard just to kind of keep that one little spot from being easily
Oh yeah.
recognized. And I look rough, man.
Oh man.
I've got to shave. My beard is completely white
Oh
now.
man, it's hey, it's gonna be okay. Well, at least we're on the podcast. It's not a video, so it's gonna be
Yeah,
no.
God, I was happy to see that today. Both of these were phone calls.
Right.
Now,
Yeah. There's
I know. Look,
no
oh, man,
Zoom for you today. That's good. See.
I look at these when I'm doing a podcast. I mean, doing a Zoom, and I look at myself. I go, come quickly, Jesus, get me.
Jesus comes back just for you because he didn't want anybody to see the. Hey,
Oh,
but I mean,
yeah,
I don't usually do the Zoom because for that reason I think I like people to be comfortable, and
yeah,
sometimes it seems uncomfortable when you're, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm thinking, you're sitting there, you got people looking at you, maybe you're in your living room and something happens and you're like, people to see
yeah,
stuff. I don't know.
yeah. And you're probably able to edit what we're doing
Right,
now, right?
that's
I
right.
would. Yeah, good. Because in case my wife comes down here and says dinner's ready or
Yeah, right.
something.
Or pick up those socks off the floor. What
Yeah,
are you
that's normal.
doing? Yeah,
That's normal.
yeah.
And hey, listen, I do this live stream guitar deal twice a month
Mm,
for
cool.
a company called Together. It's 2GTHR.co.
Oh, cool.
And, like Charlie Starr from Blackberry Smoke does it. Um, Audley Freed that plays with Sheryl Crow.
Right.
Just a lot. Guthrie Trapp. A lot of really fun guitar players do it. And I was doing it one day, one Sunday. I usually do it on Sunday, and my wife came in. So she, I've got the Marshall head here in the studio, and I've got out in the garage. I've got a Marshall cabinet, 412 cabinet.
Right.
So I hear the garage door go up, and I hear this honk, and I thought first somebody's out there playing harmonica, but it was her beeping. Then she came in and said, "You're too loud." I said, "Okay."
Oh wow.
That goes that goes over good on the pod. Oh,
That's all.
man.
Right.
But yeah. Oh well. I
I,
mean,
I,
yeah. Hey, it's live. It's a live stream without a net. At
well,
least right now we can have in case something like that happens.
well, it happens all the time. Yeah, I mean it's always something, especially live. Yeah, thank God for, like you said, editing is always nice. Yeah, I've had to edit a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that can happen, but yeah, live is a different subject. But okay, so tell me about your latest album with the band. That's a Fact, Jack. I'm thinking of like Bill Murray and Stripes. Is that where that came from? That's a Fact, Jack. Do you remember that?
Oh, well, okay, we're going to give this credit to Richard Young, the rhythm guitarist that sings the song. Well, he said he called me last, I don't know, maybe it was in December or last January. He said, "Man, I've got a song and I got it from my dad." He said his dad used to say that if he would say something, then he would preface it with, "That's a fact, Jack." Like you trying to make a point,
Right,
But yeah, since then I found out, yeah, well, it's been around for a while.
right,
Uh, that album, as you know, going back to well, let's go back to 2019 pandemic.
right,
We had a very, very busy year, like everybody.
right,
And going into 2020, we were going to be busy. We had a really good schedule. We I think we started the year out playing down south a couple of times. It seemed like we maybe played once in Alabama. Then we played 2 shows in Florida. Then we went up to the Birchmere in Alexandria, Virginia on mid February of 2020. And then we were going to be out for a month. Then everything was going to kick back in.
right,
And of course, about a week home, we started hearing about the virus. We'd already been hearing about the virus,
right.
but we had no idea what it was going to do. But then our shows started dropping out,
Yeah.
being pushed up. And 2020, we didn't do but 9 shows.
Wow.
And I missed one of the shows in November of 2020 because I had COVID. I got
Jeez.
COVID.
Mm.
Not a bad case, but I had it,
Yeah.
and I had to quarantine for, I thought, 2 weeks. I found out later it was just 10 days, but they couldn't get a hold of me. So, no,
Oh.
you're fit to go. So I went to White Castle, had me about 8 sliders, and it was the day before Thanksgiving.
Oh,
I said, I'm
gee.
going to celebrate.
Right.
And
What a way to do it.
yeah, that's the way you do it, brother. But anyway, we did, 2020 was not a good year musically,
Right.
but it was a
Right.
good year for me, being with my family.
Yeah.
I got my basement actually back clean again, fairly clean.
There you go.
Getting and working on a studio down here and a production studio. I could do radio stuff. We can talk about the radio stuff later,
Right.
but it was a good year. It was a productive year. But when we came out, we originally, I think the plan was at the end of 2020, we were going to reconvene as a band and try to get together and run over some songs for the next album, which that's a fact, Jack. So
Right.
we couldn't do that. I just got over the virus, and then we were going into Thanksgiving, then we're going into Christmas, so things just didn't work out. So last January, we started talking on the phone, and people had song ideas or ideas of songs we could do, maybe we'd written before. And finally, we got in the studio in February last year. And the first day was pretty much a waste. We were mush brain because we hadn't been playing much together.
Right.
But slowly but surely, we started. People would bring songs they've been working on, and we would shape them into Headhunter songs, and we got through it. We made the album like February to March, and it was released in October of last year,
Awesome.
and we'll be touring this year. We did about 45 shows last year. We've done 2 this year. We're starting back in March, pretty heavy.
Yeah.
We should have a pretty good year, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I hope so. I think things are getting better as far as that goes.
I think so too. We had a little bout with COVID back in September. Our sound man got it. Richard and Fred Young both got it.
Wow.
So we had to take a week off, and then we had to do 4 shows without Fred. We brought my stepson out to play drums. We just couldn't take the financial hit because we have a lease bus.
Yeah. I'm sure.
So
Yeah.
we had to get out there and do it. But yeah, hopefully things get better.
Yeah, I hope so. Um, well, let's back up a little bit now.
Sure,
I
buddy.
was going over your history here, but so when did you start playing guitar before you formed the band and everything? How did you start playing, and who were your influences back in the day?
Well, initially my influences were my dad, my uncle Wade, my brother Gary, and my cousin Larry. I grew up in a family that played music, not professionally or anything, but there were guitars around the house. I mean, my cousin Larry had a really nice dot neck ES335, like a 50s
Oh wow,
guitar, and my brother
cool.
had a Stratocaster, and we had a really nice collection of everything from the Ventures, Lonnie Mack, Travis Womack to Merle Travis
Oh yeah,
and the Beatles and stuff like that. So that was my first. Of course, AM radio was a big influence as a kid. Listening to AM radio, my parents listened to country radio. My brother listened to rock radio. So I was getting bombarded. Both sides of music. Uh, but really, what set me on the path, I think, because I mean, the early '60s, I absolutely loved baseball. I was a big New York Yankees fan. I wanted to play baseball, and
right.
I was playing baseball. I lived about 2 blocks from Churchill Downs
Oh wow,
in Louisville, and
cool.
we used to play over in the parking lot over there. And one day I got hit really hard by a line drive, and I said, "Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm
No
done
more for
with
me.
it. I'm done." I really wanted to be a baseball player. I really did, man. Seriously, I was passionate about it. And I would go. I would go watch these older guys play softball. They were. I mean, this was some pretty hard softball back then.
Yeah,
I mean, and I'd go watch ball, and that's what I wanted to do. But then I think what happened. That was that night when the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan that
right,
really cemented my future, or I planted a seed.
right.
And I went, okay. I didn't know what to make of the Beatles at first, but I saw when I went back to school the next day, it made such an impact on everybody. It changed all of our lives,
Right.
you know. And we started trying to comb our bangs down.
You got the
But,
haircuts and the. Did you get the
yeah.
jackets and the
Oh my
narrow
Lord.
jackets?
Yeah. As the months went by, people get beetle boots and growing their hair out, and it was just the greatest thing. And of course, that the Beatles brought a great onslaught of other great bands such as the Rolling
Sure.
Stones, the
Yeah.
Dave Clark Five,
Right.
the Lovin' Spoonful came through the door, and
Right.
so many bands. And at that point, I started wanting to play guitar, and I would go upstairs and my brother and my cousin, he was living with us. He had moved up from Midcap County to Louis. I was living in Louisville at the time, and he moved up to get work, and he boarded with us. And so while they were at work, I'd go upstairs and play their guitars,
Cool.
and that was I think so around 64 is when I started. And then I started listening to the radio like a other kid and buying records, in 65. I was a big Beach Boys fan, and of course the Beatles. And then another big defining moment was in 1966, November of 66. My cousin and my brother took me to see the Lovin' Spoonful at Memorial Auditorium,
Cool.
and I thought right then, I said, "This is great. This is I saw the effect that music had on people,
Right.
and that was it. It just
Yeah.
it was that. Yeah,
Well, eventually you got with the guys in the band, but at first you were called Itchy Brother. Now, where did that name Itchy Brother? Is
Itchy
that
Brother.
Poison Ivy? I guess is what.
Well, Itchy Brother. It's interesting. If you go back to the early '60s, there was a cartoon on TV, King Leonardo and Friends, and you can go and see this. And there's footage of King Leonardo and
Okay.
Friends, and Itchy Brother was King Leonardo's evil brother.
Oh,
They were lions. King Leonardo was it was King Leonardo, and his assistant was Odie Coloni, who was a skunk. you know, so Itchy Brother and Biggie Rat were always trying to overthrow Bongo Congo, the kingdom. And so, I mean, understand. I'm gonna backtrack just a minute.
okay.
So, so '66. See the Loving Spoonful, right?
Right.
And my dad comes home about the same time and says, "All right, we're moving from Louisville. We're going to Midcalf County. That's where they were from."
Okay.
And that was our family roots. And we, you know, I was kind of devastated. I loved visiting my cousins and aunts and uncles in Midcalf County, but I loved Louisville
Right.
because Louisville, had a great music scene, a local music scene. There's some great bands, and
Right.
I thought, well, I'd like maybe eventually getting a band. So we moved to Midcalf County. So '67 was kind of uneventful, except for listening to a lot of radio. But in '68, I saw a band in Louisville. I went back to visit, and I saw this band called Elysian Field, which was a local band, and they had a hit record at the time, like a regional hit record. And I don't know, I just had this overwhelming feeling that's what I was going to do the rest of my life. I was going to play music. And about a month later, I met Richard Young with the Headhunters, who's
Right.
with the Headhunters now, and we did a talent show together, 4-H talent show, and we he said, after the talent show was over with, well, we first got together at the lunchroom at Metcalf County Elementary, and we played Born to Be Wild. We played Sunshine of Your Love and a couple other songs. He said, okay, we can do this talent show. He said, after it was over, he said, hey, me and my brother and my cousin got a band together, and would you like to come jam? And so I went and started jamming with them. That was the seeds of Itchy Brother.
Right.
At that time, they were called The Truth.
Okay.
They were called The Truth. And then we changed the name of the band to Aftermath, but we were doing all this psychedelic music, and people, the older people saying, you guys sound like Afterbirth. So,
Ah, that's catchy.
but we went through a few name changes, and finally in '73, '74, we came on the name Itchy Brother, and that was what happened. We put it together, and we played together from then on and off to '78. No, actually, a little longer than that. It's about '81, and we tried really hard to get a record deal, and we came close to getting a record deal with Swan Song Records out of New York. We had met our manager Mitchell Fox. It just didn't work, man.
Mm.
The disco thing was happening,
Right. Right.
and so it just didn't work out. It wasn't in the cards for us to be a big rock band at the time. So at that point in 1981, out of necessity, because I recently got married, I took a gig with Ronnie McDowell, who was a big country artist
Right.
in Nashville. And also, Richard had taken a gig writing songs at Acuff Rose. Um, Fred, he ended up playing with Sylvia, another
Yeah.
country artist.
Yeah.
But the very first day with Ronnie McDowell, I met Doug Phelps, who's in the band now. It's just
Cool.
kind of like fate. Things
Yeah.
work out like they're supposed to.
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
But it's your brother. Yeah, getting back to that. I know I'm taking you all
No,
over the
you
place, but
good
hey,
story.
it was an interesting story. We put the Headhunters together in 1986 just to explore the blues and rockabilly side of things, and it worked initially. The funny thing is, it's the same bands together now. When we started talking about putting the band together in March of '86, initially we were going to get our cousin Anthony to come play bass, but he couldn't do it. He wasn't really interested. He'd been through enough trying to get a record deal,
Yeah.
this and that. He was done with it. And we said, well, I kept saying, well, what about Doug Phelps, the bass player in the Headhunters? With Ronnie McDowell. And I brought him up, and we jammed with him, and it worked.
Right.
And from '86 on, that's when the Headhunters actually started. that's when that started, you know.
Yeah, that's
But
cool
all roots
story.
go back to Itchy Brother and the Truce.
Itchy Brother and the Truth.
Yeah,
That's cool. I did not know that. That's
yeah.
yeah, very cool, very cool. Um, so y'all hitting it big about that time, and I remember the songs were catchy from back in the day, man. And watching the video and things like that. But I remember the song Dumas Walker.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Was there a Dumas Walker? I had a dog named Dumas, by the way. Dumas
oh yeah.
Dumas was his name, but Dumas Walker, was that a real guy, or where did that come
Sure
from?
was. Sure was. Dumas Walker had a little package. Well, it was a little store on the Tennessee Kentucky line below Tompkinsville, Kentucky, in Moss, Tennessee. Him and his wife, and he had a little dog named Pepper. And Pepper would bite your butt if you didn't watch it.
Right,
What it was in the '60s, we would go down there and buy fireworks. I mean, you couldn't buy fireworks up here. You couldn't buy cherry bombs or M80s or firecrackers, bottle
right,
rockets up here
right,
at that point. So because every Halloween up here become a battleground. People would take over Edmonton, Kentucky. They'd be on top of rooftops throwing pumpkins, throwing M80s.
wow,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy.
wow,
Okay, but that's just the way Halloweens were back then.
yeah,
It was like Wild West,
right.
and also you could buy beer. you know,
On top of
you
all
could.
that,
It was dry around here,
wow,
and so of course, we were young. We didn't go down to buy a beer till later, but so that was just a part of our upbringing. But now the funny thing is about that song, it's not really about, but it's about two different places. There's another establishment in Greensburg, Kentucky, called the Greasy Spoon. And it's a restaurant that had slaw burgers, fries, and a bottle of ski. And in 1972, me and Richard and Fred went to this crazy hippie party, and the one guy knew that we weren't used to that scene, and he took us out driving in my car and said, "Man, let's get out of here because I know you guys aren't real comfortable with people dropping acid
yeah,
and
yeah. I guess not.
passing out and stuff like
Jeez,
that." And
wow,
so he took us to the Greasy Spoon, and that was our first encounter with a slaw burger, fries, and a bottle of ski. So when we wrote the song, we just wrote it about two different places, and the Greasy Spoon didn't really rhyme. We said, "Well, let's just call it Dumas Walker," and it's about Dumas Walker's place in Moss, and it's also about the Greasy Spoon. So
cool.
it's about two real identities, so to speak.
That's cool. Cool story. And I know another song, uh, which I know y'all did, "Oh Lonesome Me," the Don Gibson song,
Yeah,
and the "Walk Softly on This Heart of Mine." I think everybody I play in a band, and everybody
yeah,
that's ever played has done the cover of that with with that
yeah,
riff, doom, 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 doom,
yeah.
and then the drums come out. I mean,
Oh,
right, and it's so cool. I mean, is that what reaction don't you still get a cool reaction from
oh
that song,
gosh.
man?
Oh yeah, everybody loves that song, man. Yeah, that and our meal tickets pretty much are Walk Softly, Dumas Walker. People love to hear Spirit in the Sky. They love
Oh yeah,
Old Love Me. Yeah, yeah. Those are vehicles for us to still work. Thank God. We've done two shows this year. We did 45 shows last year, but I think this year will be pretty busy. Plus, we'll be promoting the new album. But yeah, Walk Softly was when we first started the band. Like I say, it was Richard, Fred, Doug, and I, and then Doug brought Ricky up one night, Ricky Lee, and he he'd been singing Walk Softly, you know, in bluegrass bands,
right.
and he joined the band reluctantly joined. I love Ricky, by the way. I have no, he left in '92, but I know now Ricky just wasn't. He just didn't want no part. Really want a part of the music business
Yeah,
like we did.
right.
He, he got out as soon as he could, but but the funny thing is when he joined the band, there was a lady in Nashville that's heard him sing "Walk Softly." She said, "If you'll go in the studio and cut that, uh, I'll pay for the session and a 45 record." So we did one run of Walk Softly which sounds similar, but it's not. We hadn't really matured yet as a band, and we cut it at Acuff Rose. And we one side was all "Oh Lonesome Me" and one side was "Walk Softly." So there is a little record out there on Gum Island Records of
Hmm,
a first try of "Walk Softly." So we
cool.
went back in 1988 to cut the actual Picking on Nashville album, 88, 89, whenever it was. Uh, it came together. Lo and behold, all those 10 songs were ready to record, and they came off great. Somehow by the grace of God. That's all I can say.
Awesome. And y'all won a Grammy, right, for that
Yeah,
album, and
yeah, we sure
that's
did.
cool, man.
We sure did, man. We won a Grammy, and for well, we were nominated 4 times, but we in 1990 we won Best Country Performance by a duo or group with vocal for Picking on Nashville, and we won 4 CMA awards.
Wow.
We won American Music Award. We won. Oh gosh, what's the other? It's another one. There's so many other awards we won. I just can't think. We had a really strong beginning, and that's what gave us the foundation to continue. Even when the band imploded in '92, we had a breakup. 2 guys left,
Yeah.
then one came back later, but we had to. We carried on, and we were able to sustain what we had built early on and keep it going, and we're still work.
Right. And
Thank God.
so what motivates you to do the music like that after all these years? What keeps you going?
Well, you got to do something. I'll be 69 in March 31st, and you know I'm not real crazy about traveling like I used to
Mm,
be. I've traveled. I've been on a bus since 1981,
wow.
and before that, I was in a band. And I've worked. I mean, I've worked ever since I was in high school. Uh, I don't know. My dad was a stickler about us working. Uh, music is just it's a passion. You know, if I wasn't traveling, I'd be doing something in music. I'd be doing, as you know, I guess I do a radio
Right.
show. I've been doing that 22 years, really. Uh, and that's just really an excuse to play music for people on the air, man.
See.
To do that
Right.
and to play music. I don't know. And I started out. It's getting to play with Richard Fradd, who we started playing together in '68, as you know.
Right.
And I don't know, man. It's a passion. Hey, you know what? It's just what we were called to do in life.
That's it.
It was a calling,
That's
and
it.
I know I was had a calling early on. I can just about tell you where I was. It happened, and like I say, about a week or two later, I met Richard, and they were. I know they were meant to do what they're doing,
Right.
and Doug Phelps. So we're just fulfilling our calling, I guess.
Well, I mean, when you have a calling and you're doing this and it's in your
Yeah.
blood, has anybody ever said, "Why don't you just go work at the local sawmill and do a rec?" What would you say to that? Like, just forget the music. You need to be like a regular guy and go cut
you know,
logs.
I I couldn't do it. I just wasn't cut. I'll tell you a little story. For 8.5 years, I played with Ronnie McDowell, who had a really strong country career. And there again, I met Doug Phelps the very first day, the very first week that I started with Ronnie. Doug Phelps started, and he was a very important part of the headhunter equation, so to speak. So there's a lot of fate going on here,
Yeah,
and
sure.
different guys doing different things, what they were doing, prepare us for what we're supposed to do. But at, there was a time, there was a time in the 80s that I started questioning, the music thing. And I'm thinking it was around 88. I went and took a post office test, and I got the score back, and I went, no, I think I was meant to play music.
I thought you were going to say you went postal and you started. No, no,
No,
but
I didn't do real well in the post
it
office.
didn't
I,
work.
I never was real academic. I never was very focused except for playing guitar. And anything music I can focus on. And I just wasn't meant to do anything. I've worked. Listen, man, when I got out of high school, but all during high school, I worked at a grocery store, bagging groceries.
Right.
I worked as a butcher, or helping do stuff like that. And basically, it was just to have money
Right.
for gas to buy a car and go buy records and guitars and stuff like that. But when I got out of school, I thought, well, I'm going to follow my dad's footsteps and get a job at a printing company. And so I started at Fawcett Printing Company in '72. We moved back from Metcalfe County to Louisville. And I wasn't real happy there. I wasn't happy there. I did 2 years in printing. And then from '74 to '77, I managed an electronics store in Louisville that sold records, stereos, really nice stereo gear, tubes, transistors, and I liked
Right.
that. That was a really good job, but it had music connections,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Right.
And then I guess what ruined everything, and in 1977, April '77, I saw Led Zeppelin. I said, "Okay, I'm gonna try this music thing," And I started that year, but then I got back together with Richard Fred in the fall of '77. We put Itchy Brother. I started playing with Itchy Brother again, and from there we started making connections, and things slowly worked out.
Right.
But you
Yeah.
know, it's all about calling,
Yeah.
fulfilling your purpose, and also being passionate about what you do and
Right.
loving what you do.
Sure. I agree.
Would you do this if you weren't making any money? Yeah, I could say that I would still be playing guitar. I don't hate playing music by no means. I'm not crazy about traveling like I used to be,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know,
No, I
but
understand.
that's just a part of what you do to be able to play music.
And so, and you were talking about the radio show, and
Yeah,
I think that's like another outlet I think for an artist, because I
exactly.
like me myself, I do this because of that. It ties
Sure.
in to the same thing, and you get to. And I always love biographies, and I always love to read
Yeah.
about different people and their lives, and that's why I'm talking to you now, because I'm thinking I want to find out what all these stories. I love it. So is that why
Oh,
you
yeah.
did? Is that why you're doing a radio show? You want to find out about all these people, and it's cool.
Well,
And
yes, yes. Well, my initial love for radio started as a kid because I grew up in a household. My family loved music. My parents loved country music, and they would listen to WTMT in Louisville, which was an AM station. We didn't have FM back then. FM was just for orchestra music or whatever. It
right,
was
right.
experimental. And then we had this
That's funny.
radio, little GE radio on top of the refrigerator, and I remember my parents listening to WTMT on that. And then my older brother Gary would be listening to WKLO or WAKY. And I was just infatuated with radio. I was just infatuated. And I would go downtown to visit my grandparents about 3 or 4 times a year. And my trek, I would take a TARC bus from 4th Street and I'd get off at Broadway, and then I would walk to the music stores, to the record stores, and I'd walk over to WKLO to the showcase window, and I'd watch the DJs do what they were doing. I was infatuated with the DJs playing. They had these two turntables,
Right,
and they had these cart machines playing commercials.
right.
Now you don't use this
That's
stuff,
right. That's right. So
but I
cool.
was just infatuated with it, man. Just really, and at night when we moved, like I said, we moved from Louisville at the end of '66 to Metcalfe County. That if it hadn't been for the radio, and I really didn't have a guitar when I first moved down there, but if it hadn't been for radio and what few records I had, I would have went insane, basically.
Right.
You know, and at night I would tune in stations such as WLS out of Chicago, WLAC out of Nashville, WCFL out of Chicago, and it was just an adventure every night, catching these different stations and different kinds of music. So that passion and the seed was planted early on. And I started doing my very first radio show. Really, I dabbled with it in '86. I did a little blues show at WLOC in Mumfordville called Blue Monday. I only did that for about a few months,
Cool.
and just due to my schedule, I couldn't make it happen because there was no way to really record shows back then. But in 1997, the Headhunters had, from '89, there through the early '90s, we were very busy. But I was offered to do a Southern rock show in '97 at a station, um, WVLC, out of Campbellsville. And I said, well, I'm not really. I like Southern rock, but that's just a part of what I like. I like to keep it blues based, and I'd like to, play blues, soul music,
Right.
uh, African American gospel music.
Oh
I'd
yeah.
also like to include some Southern rock, as long as it's got a blues base to it. And and I said I'd like to call the show the Lowdown Hoedown. So the gentleman, the owner of the station, said, "Yeah, sure, come and start doing it." And I started on a Friday night, and I put in 2.5 years there. And then at that time, my engineer quit, and I didn't know how to run the board, so I took a break for about a year. And then I had an offer at WDNS in Bowling Green in November of 2001 to start doing the show there, and I've been there over 20 years now.
Wow. And
Every Monday
that's
night
cool.
from 7 to 10 Central Standard Time, the Lowdown Hoedown.
So cool, man. And you've had some cool guests on there, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, I have. I've had, oh gosh, oh Lord, Tommy Emmanuel,
Cool.
Steve Cropper,
Wow.
uh, Ronnie Montrose, Dion. Gosh, I'm looking at. Matter of fact, I'm looking at a list. John Sebastian,
Wow.
Tinsley Ellis, Steve Foley, Billy Gibbons,
Oh
Pat
man.
Travers,
Cool.
Brian Setzer, John Mayall.
That's crazy.
So
That's
many folks, and it streams. It streams online. It's WDNSFM.com,
awesome.
and you can check me out every Monday night. And the show is very interesting. This coming week, I've got Byron House dropping in. He's played with Robert Plant, Sam Bush, Dixie Chicks, different people. Great bass player,
Cool.
and he's going to bring in a friend that Kyle Frederick has just recorded an Americana album. We're going to play some tracks off that and talk. But yeah,
That's so
man,
cool.
it's just, as you say, and you hit it right on the head. It's an extension of what I do as a musician,
And
and it
it's
gives me a
so cool.
chance. Yeah, gives me a chance to go back and learn more about the music I love.
That's exactly. I mean, that's exactly why I do it. And it's like when
Yeah,
I was a kid, I was listening to Casey Kasem,
yeah,
not
but
knowing that I was gonna be talking to people like y'all.
yeah,
And it's like here I am. You were talking about Led Zeppelin. I was talking to John Bonham's sister earlier. So I mean, I'm just saying. So it's like, how do as a kid, you're going to be doing this and doing that, and you're talking about a call. And I think when it's in your blood, it's just something you can't. If you try to run from it, it's going to knock on your door at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, "Get up." You know.
well, exactly, exactly. I couldn't quit playing music. I was up at I didn't go to bed till late last night. I stay up and watch Gunsmoke. I watch westerns,
Oh
and
yeah, I love it.
I don't watch the news at all. I
Yeah,
don't. I
I
don't even
don't
know what's
either.
going on.
Yeah.
And so I woke up again about 4, and I had this riff on my mind. It was a song by Dusty Springfield, son of a preacher man.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about the guitar riff, which was done by Reggie Young. So I went downstairs and I pulled the song up and I figured out the riff. And I said, oh, well, at least so I need to start doing that every day. Just pick out a song and just learn a little of it, and just to keep busy. But yeah, you're doing what you love. You love music. I love music.
Oh
We're
yes.
just, you know, my son is a radio fanatic. He
Oh wow.
doesn't really aspire to do radio, but he loves Casey Kasem, man. He he actually has a lot of Casey Kasem shows on
Oh
on
cool.
CD.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
he's found a source how to buy them, and he's bought a lot of these shows and listens to them.
So
He
cool.
he remembers them as kids, and he has There's 5 radio shows he listens to every weekend. You know,
Yeah.
they're local radio shows, and he's got. He comes home from if he even if he's working, he comes home from work. He listens to them. There's a lot of similarities. He loves radio like I did. I just wanted to. I didn't have the big Casey Kasem voice, but I just wanted to do it.
Oh,
That's all
see.
there is to it. Eventually, I want to be able to. I mean, that's what I'm working towards. Is to be able to syndicate at some point,
Yeah.
maybe, down the
See.
road. And I'd like to be able to produce it out of the basement here.
Yeah.
And I like the aspect of doing it at WDNS. They've been very good to me down there. But to really move up another notch,
Yeah.
right now I'm just kind of getting the legal stuff uh, tied up, make sure that the name is secured, which it is now. And because for years I didn't even have the name uh, trademarked or anything
Oh
like
wow.
that.
Right.
I was running blind.
Right.
And when 2020 hit, I said, you know what, I need to start taking this more serious. But yeah, I think, man, if you're really into something, there's a way to do it.
I think when it's in your blood, and and people around you don't understand that, and they're like, when everybody else is just a regular, they work at this job, that job,
Yeah,
and I've always tended to run away from that and go. It was geared toward something musical because that was within me. But people that don't understand that look at you like you need to go work at the local,
yeah.
logging woods or something,
Yeah,
and it's just
I've
like
been through that, brother. I ran when I got out of high school. I kind of ran from music for a little bit, and I was miserable. And I had some rough times, trying to make a living. But I luckily married a woman that understood I needed to do what I needed to do, and she was always very supportive,
yeah,
and she's
that's a
always
key.
been there. I just feel like I mean I'm not ashamed to tell you I'm a Christian. I
Yeah,
just
me
feel like
too.
the good Lord put me in where I'm at for a reason,
Sure,
and
sure.
I'm still doing it, by
Th-
the grace of God.
this is definitely what I'm supposed to do. I know it's
Yeah.
and things
Well,
work out.
in your spirit, and you have to pray things through too. Sometimes you feel like, well, man, am I doing the right thing?
Right,
Is there something more I need to do? And I think the Lord puts us in a place, that we have to, the timing's not right,
right,
maybe,
right.
that we need more experience. We need to grow spiritually. We need to just grow as a human to be able to fulfill the purpose that He has for us. So, um, I've been doing this radio show at D93 for 20 years, over 20 years. That's a long time,
Yeah, it is.
you
That's
know.
not shabby at
And
all.
then 2.5 years at another station, and I go, man, I need to. I'm getting older. I need to really, if I'm going to jump on something, I need to do it pretty quick. But God has a plan. We just gotta. His time and our time is not the same.
That's
He has
true.
it. You know. So
You've got a good resume. I think you might make it. You know,
I
I'm
I just
just
want to be. And I just want to do. Uh, and you do too. I can tell you do.
yeah,
We just want to do what we love to do,
right.
and man, I don't. I've never aspired to be. God bless the farmers.
Yeah,
God bless them, man. I've just never aspired to do that. I just had another purpose, and I think maybe you've got that too.
I believe it
So,
too. I,
so maybe I need to encourage you today, brother.
maybe I th- I think I think you are correct, sir. I think this was my answer that I've been
well,
looking for. Really, um,
I mean, always here to help another brother, man. I mean, I eventually I do want to syndicate. I don't know how the Lord may have another, and I don't mind. Hey, listen,
well,
I know that
I
I
think
don't mind talking.
it sounds good. I mean, I think that sounds like a plan. I think a syndicated show
Yeah.
would work out great. I guess the right person, or
Yes.
hears it and says, "I want this guy," because
Yeah.
it's a good platform as far as I mean, you got the guitar player from Kentucky Headhunters talking about other genres of music and inviting guests on there. You could talk about anything,
Yeah.
but you could have
Yeah.
fun. That's cool. I mean, that's
Uh,
not You know,
It's one thing I know about. I mean, you put me in on a car show, I would fail miserably because I I'm the I'm terrible on cars. I'm not good on sports. I'm not good on. I'm a little bit on. I'm okay on some history and
yeah,
stuff, you know.
right,
But man, when it comes to music, man, I'm just passionate about it, and it's what I want to do. I mean, there's going to come a day, Gary, when I can't tour,
right,
because of family obligations, health,
right.
whatever. I mean, the Oak Ridge Boys, God bless them. William Lee's 80, right?
He's
Or is he
he's
80?
like 80. He's older than I think he's like
But
82 or
super,
something. Yeah, he's
he's
old.
Superman. I don't know. I don't think I can do that. I
Yeah,
don't think I can. But God bless him for doing that.
yeah,
And
really.
Dwayne's right behind him.
Yes,
And
right.
but I don't know. I'd like this. I know my family needs me at home. But I don't want to just be sitting around doing nothing. I mean, nobody in the nobody in the headhunters. Everybody wants to work.
Sure.
So I mean, there may come a day when I mean, God, the pandemic.
Yeah, that's your
I think
wake up
that
call. I think. Yeah, I
it
mean,
changed everything.
sure.
Made me think different about everything. If it was something like that happened again, I want to be kind of prepared for it. And so
Yeah,
anyway,
totally.
hey man, we're still out there playing music. We'll be on the road this year. We got a new album. That's a fact, Jack. We're out there touring it, and we're just doing what we know to do. And I can tell you the other guys, they're doing what they were called to do too. They're musicians, and uh, Richard, he also works with another group called the Georgia Thunderbolts, and they're
Cool,
really good. They
cool.
opened up for Deep Purple this past
Oh wow,
weekend
wow.
somewhere. I'm not really sure. I think down in Florida. I'm not really sure where it was at, but everybody's now. Fred, the drummer, great drummer,
Yes,
but his passion when he's off, he loves working on that farm.
cool,
You know,
cool.
so that
What?
keeps him normal.
Well, there you
And
go.
I get Doug's got grandkids. Everybody, but we'll reconvene second week of March, and we'll start touring again.
Sounds awesome. Well, I hope you get.
Gotta get my calluses back.
Oh
I
yeah.
almost lost my cal. Hey, when I had COVID,
Oh man, I
after
bet that was
2 weeks,
rough for a guitar
oh,
player. I
I
bet.
about lost my calluses, man. I didn't feel like playing. So
Well, somebody. I think I read it in the letter from for your I think from John.
yeah.
It said something about asking about guitars. Like you get carried away when you start talking about guitars. Do you have a guitar collection?
I got quite a few guitars. Yeah, I've
Just a
got
few. What's your favorite guitar?
my favorite out of the bunch. I'm looking at it right now. It's a 1958 Les Paul
Ooh,
Sunburst,
ooh.
uh, and I got that from Hank Williams Jr.
Oh man.
back in '91. That's my prize.
Wow.
I've got a 1964 ES335. I got a '62 ES335. Got a '64 ES45. I got a
Ooh.
'57 Strat. I've got a couple old Martin guitars. I've got an old Fender bass. Now, at one time, I had more older guitars, but I started seeing 10, 12 years ago that I was getting older. I said, you know what? I need to start thinning out the herd, but I still have a lot of guitars. I've got 30 or 40 guitars,
Oh wow.
which now compared to Joe Bonamassa, that's nothing.
I was gonna say Joe, or Neil Sean.
Oh,
He's
Neil Shaw,
he's
yeah, they
got
got
like
it.
I see
And
him. He's got. I'm thinking, do you really need another guitar? He's got like 10,000. He had an auction not long ago. And I was thinking, man, you know,
yeah, it was like I've had 60. I mean, I don't think I ever had 100, but now them guys have
it's crazy,
loads. I
crazy.
got a lot. I've got a lot of stuff. I mean, honestly, you're talking to a guy that grew up uh, not poor, but just an average income family, and
Yeah,
I never had anything till I started working.
right,
My dad, when I graduated, he got me a Les Paul for. I always had a guitar to play, a
right.
nice guitar, either due to my brother or my dad. They always took care of me. And when I graduated, I got a 1972 Les Paul Custom.
Oh wow.
You know, but as I've gotten older and I couldn't afford this stuff when I was young, I probably I probably overcompensated and bought way too much. you
Had to
know?
make up for lost time. Hey, but
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
that's just everybody has a passion. I think that's just one of those
That's it.
things. You know,
Music is it.
that's
Music
it.
is it. I get up thinking about it, and And like I say, I was up at 4 o'clock this morning. I had to run downstairs and figure that riff out.
No, yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I do music is like I live and breathe music, so
Good
I
for
gotta
you, man.
have something going with the music, and
Good for you. Good for you, buddy. I'm proud for you.
well, I
I
appreciate
hope
it.
you I hope you pursue it too. I hope you keep doing it.
Well, I thank you so much. I definitely will, and thanks for the encouragement today. And that's
You got it,
some
brother.
cool stories, and hopefully, are you going to be around the Alabama, South
Oh,
Alabama
sure,
area? I'll
sure, man.
run
Just
into you.
just just go to KentuckyHeadhunters.com or KentuckyHeadhunters.com or I'm sorry, .net, or check out. I guess our Facebook page has got a. We have a homepage on Facebook. We got Instagram too, but
Right.
just check our schedule, man. If you're going to be at one of these shows, let me know.
Sure.
I'm real easy to find. I've got Facebook pages out there. I'm all over the place.
Oh, I will
I'm
definitely
not
do
hard
it.
to find at all.
You're the guy with all the guitars, and
How to get well, Richard does
he
too,
does
but
too.
Richard's passion is the business side of the,
Okay.
the hunters, and he takes care. Thank God he takes care of that. Matter of fact, he tried to call me twice while we were doing this interview. I'm like, sorry, Richard.
Sorry, I'll he'll get right back to you, Richard.
Yeah,
But
I'll get
yeah.
to him here in a minute.
Well,
But anyway,
well,
it's all good, man. Just if you see us playing anywhere, I'm not sure if we're going to do group meeting groups yet. Like getting
yeah.
together at the
Right.
merch table like we used to.
Right.
But maybe those days are coming back again pretty soon because
Sure.
we miss it.
Sure.
We've all had our shots. Some of us have had COVID, and we've got
Right.
we've got antibodies, so maybe
No,
we're okay.
yeah,
I
your
don't
immune
know.
system is built up by now. So
I hope so.
yeah,
I hope
I
so,
think so.
man. I'm always concerned about my family. I don't
Sure.
want to get them sick.
Sure.
But man, thank you for having me on.
Hey,
I really appreciate it.
well, I appreciate you being on here. Thanks for the positivity and the encouragement,
Oh man,
and I'll
we
be
all meant to do something, brother. We all meant God gave us all something to do, whether it be a musician or a mechanic.
that's right.
Uh, God forbid, president or whatever. I wouldn't want to be in politics.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm
please.
not.
Uh,
I would. I feel
for,
sorry for those guys.
I would not. I would not.
Yeah.
No.
No, but
No.
God, whatever you're a teacher or whatever, a postman, whatever you're called to do, you know, do it because within our own power, sometimes we can't do it. But God will get you through the hard part of it, and he might put you through boot camp for a little bit, man, but you'll make it.
Amen. I'm tired of boot camp.
I know.
I'm
I know.
Gomer piled out of the boot camp, but
Well, it's time for you to
it's time for me to
to
graduate.
get back into it and go for that next step, man. That's what
That's
it's time for.
well. I appreciate that, man, and I thank you so much. And I'll be seeing you out there somewhere, man.
All right, buddy. God bless you. And you tell John when this is available, and we'll reconvene again. Okay.
I sure will, man. Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye bye.
All
See
right,
you.
bye.